There comes a moment when a person must look in the mirror of truth and ask a simple, piercing question: what am I doing with the life God has given me? Not the life I wish I had, not the life others think I should live, but the life entrusted to me right here, right now, in 2026. Every breath is a divine gift, every day a fresh invitation, every opportunity a doorway through which destiny waits. Yet many drift through the year as if they have unlimited time, unlimited chances, unlimited tomorrows. But time is not unlimited, and purpose is not automatic. Time is a sacred gift. Don't treat it casually. Most people live as if their days are limitless, as if they can waste hours without consequence, as if another year will always come to replace the one they've lost. But time is the one resource that never returns once it slips away. You can regain money, rebuild relationships, restore strength, and revive opportunities, but you cannot reclaim a single second that has already passed. Every moment you breathe is a divine deposit placed into your hands with purpose and intention. To treat time casually is to treat your own calling casually. To take time lightly is to take your destiny lightly. And nothing hinders a life more than the illusion that tomorrow will always be available, waiting patiently for you to finally get serious. Time was designed to move forward, not to wait for you. It will not pause until you gather your courage, heal your wounds, or make up your mind. It will not slow down because you are distracted, discouraged, or unfocused. It moves at the same pace every day, steady, consistent, unstoppable. The tragedy is that many people only recognize the value of time after they have wasted it. They wake up one day and suddenly realize how many dreams they abandoned, how many opportunities they ignored, how many moments with loved ones they will never be able to revisit. They look back at the years they treated carelessly and feel the weight of what could have been. Regret is always heavier than discipline, but both are shaped by the way you handle time. To understand time as a sacred gift means recognizing that every day carries something eternal within it. You are not simply passing through life. You are planting seeds with every decision, every attitude, every investment of your hours. What you do with your time determines what grows in your future. If you scatter your time into mindless routines, distractions, and meaningless pursuits, you will harvest emptiness. But if you invest your time with intention, purpose, and wisdom, you will harvest transformation. Time doesn't respond to passion alone, it responds to priority. What you prioritize receives your hours. What receives your hours becomes your life. Many people say they don't have enough time, but the truth is they don't value the time they already possess. They pour countless hours into things that weaken them, habits that steal their focus, entertainment that numbs their mind, conversations that drain their spirit, fears that paralyze their progress. They say they want change, but refuse to redirect their time toward the things that would actually produce it. A person's future is not shaped by their intentions, but by their calendar. Where your time goes, your destiny follows. If time is sacred, then procrastination is rebellion against purpose. The belief that you can start later is one of the most dangerous lies you can ever accept. Later is not a promise, it is an assumption. And assumptions are fragile foundations for destiny. Every significant breakthrough, every spiritual awakening, every bold step of growth begins with an immediate decision. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when circumstances feel perfect. The longer you delay what you know you must do, the weaker your conviction becomes. What begins as a small postponement eventually becomes a lifestyle of inactivity, and before you realize it, you have spent years circling the same mountain. Honor time by using it intentionally. Guard your hours from things that steal your focus. Give your best energy to what truly matters, not to what is merely urgent or entertaining. Practice the discipline of showing up even when you don't feel motivated. Treat each day as if it carries the possibility of change, breakthrough, and divine direction. When you value time, you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start shaping the moment you have. When you value time, you stop drifting and start directing your life with clarity and purpose. When you value time, you begin to live awake, aware, and aligned with the reason you were created. Comfort is the silent enemy of your calling. It whispers softly, convincing you that safety is more important than growth, that familiarity is better than transformation, and that staying where you are is wiser than stepping into the unknown. Comfort never shouts, never forces, never threatens. It simply invites you to relax, to settle, to remain unchanged. And because its voice feels gentle, harmless, even reasonable, many surrender to it without realizing what they are losing. Comfort's greatest danger is that it doesn't feel dangerous. It feels peaceful, soothing, and predictable, but it slowly suffocates potential, weakens conviction, and dims the fire that once burned inside you. Your calling was never meant to thrive in a place of ease. Every great assignment demands sacrifice. Every divine purpose demands movement. Every step toward destiny requires leaving something behind. The moment you choose comfort over challenge, you choose survival over growth, and survival is not the life you were created to live. You were made to stretch, to expand, to overcome, to rise. But comfort resists all of that. It tells you to avoid discomfort, to avoid risk, to avoid anything that threatens your sense of control. The tragedy is that the very things comfort tells you to avoid are the things that lead to breakthrough. Comfort always has a cost, and the price is your potential. It keeps you repeating the same year over and over, living in cycles instead of forward momentum. It convinces you that good enough is acceptable when greatness is within reach. It blinds you to opportunities because opportunities often come dressed as challenges. It chains you to old habits, old routines, and old fears, making you believe you're safe when in reality you're stuck. Comfort creates the illusion of progress because life feels peaceful, but peace without purpose is nothing more than a quiet prison. Your calling begins where comfort ends. Every part of you that is meant to grow will be stretched. Growth is uncomfortable. Obedience is uncomfortable. Discipline is uncomfortable. Breaking cycles is uncomfortable. Healing is uncomfortable. Confronting your weaknesses, facing your fears, letting go of what you've outgrown, all uncomfortable. But this discomfort is the birthplace of strength, maturity, and clarity. You cannot pray for elevation and cling to comfort at the same time. You cannot expect transformation while protecting everything that keeps you the same. People often wait for courage to replace their fear before they step into their calling, but courage doesn't come first, obedience does. The moment you step out of comfort, courage begins to rise. Confidence grows only when you prove to yourself that you can do hard things. As long as you remain in the safe zone, you will never discover how capable, resilient, and powerful you truly are. Comfort convinces you that you are fragile. Challenge proves that you are stronger than you ever imagined. Comfort also distorts your spiritual sensitivity. It makes you less aware of the opportunities around you because you become more committed to protecting what you already have than pursuing what you are called to become. When you live for comfort, you stop hearing the deeper pull of destiny. You stop listening to the promptings that nudge you forward. The voice of calling becomes faint, not because it disappeared, but because comfort became louder. Your calling requires discomfort because discomfort awakens you. It sharpens your focus. It reconnects you with your purpose. It forces you to depend on strength greater than your own. There will always be a battle between who you are right now and who you are capable of becoming. Comfort supports the former, purpose demands the latter. And every time you choose comfort, you shrink your life to the size of your fears. But every time you choose obedience, stretching, and sacrifice, you expand your life to the size of your calling. The difference between those who fulfill their purpose and those who only dream about it is simple. One is willing to leave comfort behind, and the other isn't. If you want this year to look different, you must be willing to do what you've never done. You must be willing to walk into rooms that intimidate you, attempt things that challenge you, and grow in areas that test you. Comfort won't help you get there. It will only slow you down. The life you're praying for is on the other side of discomfort. The person you're meant to become is waiting beyond the borders of what feels safe. Comfort may offer you ease, but it will never offer you destiny. Your destiny depends on the choices you make daily, not the choices you make once a year, not the choices you make when life becomes dramatic, not the choices you make in emotional moments, but the quiet, consistent, often unnoticed decisions you repeat every single day. People dream of a great future, imagine a powerful purpose, and talk about extraordinary destiny, yet overlook the simple truth destiny is built, shaped, and forged by daily habits. The small choices you make when no one is watching determine the future everyone will eventually see. Every day you wake up, you are writing the next chapter of your life, sentence by sentence, decision by decision. Your future is not a mystery waiting to be discovered. It is a direction determined by your choices. Daily decisions may look ordinary, but they carry eternal weight. The decision to discipline your thoughts, the decision to prioritize your time, the decision to guard your words, the decision to pursue growth, the decision to walk away from distractions, each one adds up. You don't drift into a meaningful life. You decide into it. Destiny is not random. It is the result of consistent alignment between your actions and your purpose. Every time you choose wisely, you take one step closer to the life you were created for. Every time you choose foolishly, you drift further from it. There is no neutral ground. Every decision moves you toward purpose or away from it. People often underestimate how powerful their daily routines are. They believe destiny is shaped in dramatic, life-changing moments, when in reality it is shaped in the unseen, ordinary parts of the day. Your destiny is hidden inside your morning habits, inside what you do with your free time, inside how you react when you feel tempted, tired, discouraged, or overlooked. Great accomplishments are built on the foundation of small but consistent choices. You cannot expect a vibrant future with a careless present. You cannot expect to walk in purpose when your daily decisions contradict your calling. There is no destiny without discipline. Destiny requires choosing what is right over what is easy. It requires choosing growth over comfort, responsibility over excuses, obedience over impulses. Many people want to be great, but are unwilling to master their daily choices. They want success without sacrifice, transformation without consistency, breakthrough without commitment. But destiny does not respond to wishes. It responds to actions. Every day you choose your priorities, and your priorities reveal your direction. What you give your attention to becomes your path. What you practice becomes your identity. Even the smallest decisions can alter your life's trajectory. A single choice to stay focused instead of distracted can lead to a new opportunity. A single choice to forgive instead of resent can unlock peace you didn't know was possible. A single choice to discipline your time can open doors that once seemed unreachable. A single choice to say yes to what strengthens you and no to what weakens you can set you on a new course. You don't need to change everything in one day. You just need to make one right choice today and then another tomorrow until those choices shape the future you desire. Your destiny is too valuable to be handed over to laziness, fear, excuses, or inconsistency. Every day you are either building your destiny or sabotaging it. Every day you are either preparing for what's ahead or delaying what you were meant to step into. You have far more control over your future than you think. You cannot control every circumstance, but you can control the decisions you make in those circumstances. And those decisions determine who you become. The life you want is not waiting for a perfect moment. It is waiting for consistent choices. If you want strength, choose discipline daily. If you want clarity, choose focus daily. If you want purpose, choose alignment daily. Your daily choices are the seeds, and your destiny is the harvest. Every choice matters. Every step counts. Destiny doesn't arrive suddenly, it arrives gradually, shaped by the quiet power of your daily decisions. Distractions steal more destiny than failure ever will. Failure, at least, teaches you something. It sharpens your character, strengthens your resolve, and points you toward a wiser path. But distractions slowly drain you without making any noise. They don't shock you, they don't warn you, they don't confront you. They simply steal your focus one moment at a time until you realize you have spent hours, days, even years on things that never moved you closer to your calling. Distraction is the enemy that smiles while robbing you. It feels harmless because it doesn't demand much from you. It just wants your attention, and once it gets it, it takes your purpose with it. You were created with a specific assignment, a unique purpose, and a divine path, but that path requires focus. Focus is the currency of destiny. When your attention is fractured, your progress becomes impossible. Many never discover what they are capable of because they allow distractions to keep them spiritually shallow, mentally scattered, and emotionally exhausted. It is not the big obstacles that usually stop people. It is the endless stream of small, pointless diversions that keep them from ever stepping into intentional living. Destiny is lost not in dramatic failures, but in the unseen moments where attention is surrendered to what doesn't matter. Distractions come in many forms. Some appear as entertainment that consumes your time. Others show up as people who drain your energy. Some disguise themselves as opportunities that look appealing but have nothing to do with your purpose. Many distractions come from within: fear, doubt, comparison, insecurity, or the desire to be accepted. They lure you into cycles of overthinking, worrying, and imagining scenarios that waste the very energy you need to grow. Distractions do not simply take your time, they take your momentum. They break your rhythm, disrupt your progress, and keep you from building the consistency needed for transformation. The danger of distraction is that it feels easier than staying focused. Focus requires intention, clarity, and discipline. Distraction requires nothing but willingness to drift, and drifting always leads downward. When you allow your attention to scatter across meaningless things, you slowly become numb to what truly matters. You begin to lose spiritual sensitivity, emotional strength, and mental sharpness. Over time, you stop hearing the deeper call on your life because the noise around you becomes louder than the purpose within you. Failure is loud and obvious. Distraction is quiet and subtle. Failure forces a decision. Distraction delays it. Failure can lead to growth. Distraction prevents growth from ever beginning. This is why people who fail repeatedly can still find great success, but people who live distracted rarely achieve anything meaningful. Failure pushes you forward by teaching you what doesn't work, but distraction keeps you standing still, thinking you have more time than you actually do. Your destiny requires a level of focus that refuses to be stolen. Every minute you spend on something that doesn't align with your purpose is a minute taken from what could have changed your life. You must protect your attention like treasure, because your attention determines your direction. Guard your mind from pointless noise. Guard your heart from unnecessary drama. Guard your time from activities that pull you away from growth. Every yes you give to a distraction becomes a no to your destiny. Clarity grows when distraction is eliminated. Strength rises when focus is restored. When you stop scattering your energy across 100 meaningless things, you finally begin to pour yourself into what brings real transformation. The more you remove distractions, the easier it becomes to hear your calling. Distractions don't need to be evil to be dangerous. They just need to be misaligned with your purpose. Many good things can still steal your destiny if they are not the right things for you. You cannot walk powerfully into your future while constantly looking sideways. You cannot build the life you desire while feeding the distractions that weaken you. Purpose requires a focused mind, a protected heart, and a disciplined attention. Refuse to hand your destiny over to trivial things. Refuse to let distraction rob you of the life you were created to live. When you learn to silence what is meaningless, you finally make space for what is eternal. Courage will open doors that fear keeps closed. Fear builds invisible walls around your life, convincing you that danger exists where it doesn't, that you are unprepared when you are capable, and that the unknown is too risky to explore. Fear doesn't just keep you from acting, it slowly convinces you that inaction is wisdom. It makes you believe that playing small is safer than stepping into the fullness of who you are meant to become. But courage is the force that breaks through those walls. It is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to bow to it. Courage steps forward even while fear screams, and in that step, doors open, doors that would have remained locked if you waited to feel brave first. Every person who walked into their destiny had to confront fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of not being enough. These fears don't disappear with time, they disappear with action. The first step is always the hardest because it requires you to trust the strength within you more than the fear around you. But once you take that step, something shifts. Courage awakens, confidence grows, momentum builds. You begin to realize that the barrier you feared was only a shadow. The moment you confront it, you discover it has no real power unless you grant it power through hesitation. Fear keeps doors closed by magnifying what if. What if you fail? What if you get embarrassed? What if people don't believe in you? What if you lose? What if it doesn't work out? But courage asks a different question. What if it does? What if you succeed? What if your obedience leads to breakthrough? What if the step you take today becomes the defining moment of your future? Destiny is not discovered in the comfort of certainty. It is discovered in the boldness of courage. Every great story begins with a risk. Every significant change begins with a decision to act despite fear. Courage is not loud. Sometimes it is quiet, steady, and trembling. Sometimes it looks like trying again after you've failed. Sometimes it looks like walking away from something familiar because you know it is holding you back. Sometimes it looks like speaking the truth no one else wants to say. Courage is choosing growth over fear, sacrifice over comfort, and purpose over approval. Courage is refusing to let your destiny be determined by the limitations you imagine. It is choosing to move even when your voice shakes, your hands tremble, and your heart races. Fear will always point you toward the safest road, but safety is not the birthplace of purpose. Growth lives in the uncomfortable places. Breakthrough lives in the unfamiliar places. Miracles live on the other side of obedience. When you choose courage, you unlock doors to opportunities that fear would have kept hidden. You meet people you never would have met. You enter environments you never would have reached. You discover strength you didn't know you possessed. Courage expands your life. Fear shrinks it. Fear is persuasive because it uses your imagination against you. It paints worst-case scenarios so vividly that you begin to see them as inevitable. But courage uses your imagination for possibility. It lifts your eyes from everything that could go wrong to everything that could transform your life. Courage reminds you that you were created with purpose, equipped for challenges, and designed with the capacity to overcome. Fear wants you to live small. Courage wants you to live fully. Every door you long for, growth, freedom, purpose, opportunity, breakthrough, requires courage to open. Not someday courage, but today courage. Courage in the moment you feel unqualified. Courage in the moment you feel unseen. Courage in the moment your mind tries to talk you out of what your heart knows is right. You do not need to be fearless to walk into your destiny. You just need to be willing. Fear will never fully disappear, but when you choose courage over and over again, fear loses its ability to control your life. Courage will open doors that fear keeps closed, and on the other side of those doors, you will find the life you were always capable of living. Live 2026 with an eternal vision, not a temporary mindset. Most people live as if this year is only about reaching goals, earning more, fixing a few habits, or achieving personal milestones. But when your perspective is only limited to the next few months, your decisions become small, your priorities become shallow, and your purpose becomes fragile. A temporary mindset focuses on what feels good now, what looks impressive now, what brings quick results now. But an eternal vision sees beyond immediate gratification. It reminds you that every choice, every action, and every attitude carries a weight that extends far beyond this year. When you live with eternal vision, your life gains depth, direction, and clarity that temporary thinking can never offer. A temporary mindset constantly reacts to circumstances. It rises and falls with emotions, opportunities, and challenges. When things go well, it feels strong. When things get hard, it feels defeated. But an eternal vision remains stable regardless of seasons. It is anchored in something greater than trends, opinions, and changing situations. It helps you see purpose in difficulty, growth in discomfort, and meaning in moments that others overlook. With eternal vision, even your struggles become investments. Your obedience becomes worship. Your sacrifices become seeds. You begin to understand that nothing is wasted when your life is aligned with something bigger than yourself. Living with an eternal vision means you stop measuring your life by temporary achievements. Success is no longer defined by what you accumulate, but by who you become. Progress is not judged by how many people notice, but by how consistent you are with what truly matters. Temporary thinking pushes you to chase immediate results, while eternal vision pushes you to build something that lasts. Temporary thinking encourages shortcuts, but eternal vision teaches patience, integrity, and resilience. Temporary thinking settles for comfort, but eternal vision demands courage, faith, and perseverance. When you view life through an eternal lens, the way you handle your time changes. You stop wasting days on distractions that drain your spirit and habits that weaken your purpose. You become intentional, disciplined, and present. You guard your focus because you understand the value of every moment. You start choosing what strengthens you instead of what entertains you. You prioritize what brings growth rather than what brings instant relief. Eternal vision reshapes your daily decisions because you realize your time is not just passing, it is planting. Every day becomes a seed that will eventually produce a harvest. Fear also begins to lose its power over you when you live with eternal vision. Temporary thinking magnifies fear because it only sees what you might lose. Eternal vision strengthens courage because it sees what you might gain. Temporary thinking makes you hesitant, but eternal vision makes you bold. When you understand that your purpose has eternal significance, you become willing to step out, to try, to risk, to obey, even when you feel uncertain. You begin to trust that what you are building matters beyond this moment. Fear cannot control someone who knows their life carries eternal weight. Relationships, too, look different through an eternal perspective. You stop engaging in meaningless conflicts, pointless comparisons, and empty conversations. You invest in people who challenge you, sharpen you, and help you grow. You choose forgiveness because grudges waste too much of your emotional energy. You choose compassion because the way you treat people echoes beyond the present moment. Temporary thinking divides, eternal vision unites. Temporary thinking judges, eternal vision understands. Temporary thinking reacts, eternal vision responds with wisdom. To live 2026 with eternal vision means you refuse to drift through the year. You refuse to let temporary emotions dictate your long-term purpose. You refuse to let culture shape your identity. Instead, you rise each day with a sense of responsibility, clarity, and direction. You understand that your life is part of a bigger story. You understand that every decision either aligns you with your purpose or pulls you away from it. You understand that this year is not just about surviving, but about building, growing, and preparing for something greater. When you embrace an eternal vision, you walk differently, think differently, and live differently. Your priorities shift. Your motivation shifts. Your standards rise. You stop settling for the temporary and start pursuing what carries meaning, weight, and lasting impact. And as you move through this year with that clarity, you begin to realize that the greatest transformation is not happening around you, it is happening within you. One day, your life will be measured not by what you intended to do, but by what you actually did, not by the dreams you talked about, but by the steps you took. Not by the time you had, but by how you used it. Let 2026 be the year you can look back on and say, I didn't waste it. I lived it. I fought for it. I stepped into what I was created for.